Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. And today, what I want to talk about is a little bit of topics about the NFL. I was thinking about the Giants, and we'll get into a separate topic later. But I'm like, are we going to regret not drafting Isaiah Simmons? And now, what would be the threshold for this? The threshold would be Isaiah Simmons is a Hall of Famer. Andrew Thomas is a mediocre tackle. If Andrew Thomas makes a couple Pro Bowls and is solid for our team, that's a good pick. I mean, the goal. What is the goal here? You think about you're the Giants. What was the goal in this draft? It was to protect your two assets in Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Now, the real question is, are we going to regret taking Andrew Thomas over a different offensive tackle? That's what I think the real question is. I think that there's a bunch of defensive talent on this team that we've accumulated over the past couple of years, and Isaiah Simmons was the cherry on top. A guy that's, versatile, I get it, kind of like that Joe Judge versatile guy that we all, we wanted and felt like could fit. I've seen a bunch of Giants fans' reaction like, I wanted Isaiah Simmons. He was a luxury pick. A guy like that's a luxury pick. We needed the meat and potatoes. Over the past couple of years, we've been drafting luxury picks. We've been drafting Saquon Barkley. The year before that, we drafted Evan Ingram. So we've been drafting luxury picks. We haven't drafted guys that are going to be the meat and potatoes of this team. At least. We needed to address the offensive line, and I don't fault Dave Gettleman for that. I think that, in order for us to regret Isaiah Simmons, he would have to be a transcendent player. I was of the mindset towards the end. I'm like, you take a look at the rest of the draft. You would have screwed up Daniel Jones and all your prized assets. The goal for the Giants this year was to protect their crown assets and develop an offense that could be sustainable and have a defense that's going to be Patrick Graham. For the first couple of years, it's going to be a little bit gimmicky and a little bit like, scheme and pressure. But eventually we want that guy. Isaiah Simmons, people say he's a once-in-a-lifetime talent, but why did he drop to number 9 if he was a once-in-a-lifetime talent? That doesn't make any sense. He would have been picked number 3 over Jeff Okudah if he was that good. I get it, the Detroit Lions are more cornerback heavy, but still, the Panthers would have taken him. Who was number 8? The Cardinals did take him. Never mind, he fell to 8, not 9. But you guys understand, there would have been another team that jumped up to get him if he was that good. We saw the Falcons try to, I guess, but, Isaiah Simmons, I'm not going to say he's a horrible player, but now he's on the Giants, he's dead to me. That's kind of the thinking about that. Like, you hope that he doesn't succeed. You don't hope that he gets injured and stuff. You just hope that he doesn't succeed on the team, and he's not as good as you thought he would be with the Giants. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that he, breaks his leg or something like that, but, that sort of thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is some of the quarterbacks in this league, and basically, when do I think they're going to start? I was thinking about making a whole separate video about this, but I wanted to clickbait it talking about Isaiah Simmons, to be totally honest with you. We discussed a little bit about it. So, and eventually I'm probably going to do when the quarterbacks are to start their first game, like Jalen Hurts, Jacob Eason, and all those. But for now, I'm going to do when I think the starting quarterbacks this year are going to win their first game. Ryan Finley didn't win any games last year, and he played for the Bengals. But Joe Burrow is definitely going to win this year. Oh, well, it's not definitely. I guess there's this possibility that they go 0-16. But, they have some underrated players that they have on their team. The more I look at their roster, the more I'm like, hey, they have some underrated guys. You still have A.J. Green. And you still have, Geno Atkins and decent defense. They go up week 1 against the Chargers. Tyrod Taylor is starting it. They may have some distractions with Hard Knocks and that sort of thing. They have to go all the way to the Bengals. Now, with the Bengals, they have no fans anyway. I think they could potentially win this game and come off to a hot start. Usually, teams, when you don't have a lot of film, they exceed really well. You take a look at this offensive line, doesn't really have a lot of camaraderie against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think it's safe to say that they lose this game. Then they play against the Browns 4 days later on a Thursday night real quick. But it's in the same, region. It's just Cincinnati to Cleveland. That's less than probably 200 miles. So I think that Cleveland still wins this game. Then they play the Eagles. They lose that game as well. I think that the Eagles have an improved secondary. They have a pretty good pass rush. And that happens there. The first win has to be against the Jaguars. You play at home. You've been playing in the same region for the past couple of weeks. You don't really travel that much. And you take a look at the Jaguars and their schedule. I mean, first of all, they're not a good team, but they play in Jacksonville. Then they play in Tennessee. Then they play in Jacksonville. Then they have to go to Cincinnati. So it's a lot of movement right there. And yeah, I think the Bengals would win that game. Going on to TUA. Now, this really depends on when he plays. I think that, Ryan Fitzpatrick may start the first couple of games. It may be like a Baker Mayfield situation where it's just like, you have Tyrod Taylor start the first couple of games, and then when it's calling time, it comes. And that was against a cupcake with the Jets when they were losing. You take a look at Miami's schedule, start off with the gauntlet, the Patriots, that wouldn't be that great. They're going to be fans screaming for Tua. Even, fans in the stands probably travel up from Miami. It's not going to really be that cold and be like, you know what, Tua, that sort of thing. And then against the Bills, that's when a lot of people are going to be screaming Tua. I think he gets his first start against the Bills. Not first start. He plays first against the Bills because, Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to be throwing a lot of interceptions against that Bills' vaunted defense. And I don't think Miami's offensive line is that good to surround him. Then I think he gets his first start that very next week against the Chargers. He stays in Miami, and Joe Burrow and Tua make their first win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Miami's defense is not that bad. You take a look at Kyle Van Noy, and their run game as well. You have Matt Breida that you brought in. You have Jordan Howard that you brought in. It's just like they have a decent amount of weapons that could, expose the Jaguars, who are a very young secondary. Are going to have a very young team. So I think that the Dolphins win their first game against the Jaguars, and then they have a tough schedule. They play the Seahawks, Niners, Broncos, Chargers, Rams, Cardinals, and they have a little bit of a cupcake back-to-back against the Jets, but we think the Jets still may be good. Tua may even win like 2-3 games this year. It may be a little bit rough for him, but that doesn't matter because we're going on to the next one, Justin Herbert. Now, there's a lot of controversy like who they're going to bring in for training camp, but, as far as quarterback, it's just like, I don't think they're going to bring Colin Kaepernick. I don't think they're going to bring Cam Newton. Anthony Lynn wants the, pocket to move. I think he's going to really let Justin Herbert excel and really, come out of his shell. So I think that, they're going to move him around a lot. They're going to protect him over the first couple of weeks because they play the Bengals. So, Tyrod Taylor's going to win that game. And then it's going to be the Chiefs. They're going to lose that game. The Panthers, they're going to win that game. So they're going to start off 2-1 pretty hot. And then that's when they play the Buccaneers and Saints. That's when you're going to get some fans calling for, Justin Herbert, all the 3 fans that they do have. And then the schedule lightens up, and that's the perfect time to squeeze Justin Herbert in against the Jets, Dolphins, and Jaguars. Now, I'm really tempted to say Justin Herbert's going to win his first game against the Jaguars. Justin Herbert's skill set is, he's going to get fooled. He's going to get really bum rushed by the New York Jets. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at him, and I don't think that's a great spot for, Justin Herbert to play. And then they go down to Miami, Justin Herbert versus Tua. They're going to be very tempted, I think, to start him in that game, October 25th, kind of like the Dwayne Haskins, Daniel Jones thing from last year. So you're going to travel all across the country. The whole team's going to travel across the country. That's going to be tough. I'm really tempted to say the first win's going to be against the Jaguars. I don't really see how else they'll get their first win. I think this is a good team, So do I see them at, 2-5 in their first couple of games? No, I can't see that, which is why I think Justin Herbert, this is not planned. I'm just looking at schedules now, will have his first win against the Jaguars. Everyone's being up on the Jaguars. Now, Jordan Love, I didn't mention him this entire video, but let's take a look at the Green Bay Packers schedule and figure out if he could play. Now, the only reason why he would play is because Aaron Rodgers gets frustrated. The team is beginning to suck. And let's take a look at their schedule a little bit right now. And then, obviously, Aaron Rodgers gets injured. So you take a look at the gauntlet. They have the Vikings, Lions, Saints, Falcons, Buccaneers, and Texans. Now, the Buccaneers, they have a pretty ferocious defense, so I can definitely see Aaron Rodgers getting injured in that sort of game, a pass rush with an offensive line that's not really that good, but I don't really see a string of games where it's just like he's getting hit a lot. It's coming off of a bye, so I think that he'll be fresh off that. Then you have the Texans, Vikings, 49ers. That game, he may try a little bit too hard. It's on a short week. He may get injured there, and then the Green Bay Packers play the Jaguars the very next week. You have Jordan Love playing against the Jaguars. I don't think he'd light up that defense. It's not really that experienced anymore. You still have Myles Jack again, but, come on. You think the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Jaguars? Are not going to beat the Jaguars? They're playing at home. They'll travel back. They're coming off a devastating loss. Like, we need to make the playoffs. We need to win at least one of these 2 games where Aaron Rodgers is out. So I think that they have a legitimate possibility really to win that game. It's on extra rest. You have a team that was rejuvenated, recharged. The Jaguars won't really be playing for a lot this much besides Trevor Lawrence. And Jordan Love gets his first win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think. Based on these schedules, where do you think these quarterbacks are going to get their first career wins? And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.